So there it was, a place of safety.
Yeah, such as it is.
Yeah, I'm glad that we slowed down a little bit because it was absolute minimum needed to get to Trollocs and then Trollocs, baby, for the first 2 episodes.
We got a lot of Trollocs.
Yeah,
very fast.
We did get ourselves some Trollocs in this one, but it was that moment of, oh, it might be a nice human. Does he care? Oh, no, he's eating its guts.
Nope.
And Nynaeve runs away, and God, the scene where Nynaeve takes care of that Trolloc was so cool.
So great. I'm very glad we got that. And they didn't, linger on it too much.
Yeah. Oh, you mean... Are you talking about the cool sign at the end? Or just the whole scene?
The whole scene.
Yeah.
They didn't take any more time than they absolutely needed to.
Yeah, which I think was smart because we already know that she survived. In episode 1, I was not sure. I was she just got Trolloc snatched and nobody's surviving, and I'm still kind of why did that Trolloc decide to drag her all the way over there instead of just eating her guts in the town commons like all the other ones did? But I'm glad she's alive, so I will forgive them this.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like they kind of spoiled it by end of episode 2, her being alive. So it's okay, don't draw this out.
Yeah, exactly. A lesser show absolutely would have just dragged it out and had little moments oh, will she survive that are completely have no dramatic tension because we know canonically she does. Yeah. We've seen her.
Totally. Yeah.
Unless it was something wearing her face.
Ah, yes. Which I guess is a thing later on in the book series. But anyways.
Not that often, but yeah.
Yeah. I like this a lot. I liked it being slower. I mean, it really felt like a middle episode, everything's in motion. Maureen's getting sicker, and the 2 split bands of friends are wandering, and we just had an episode in this town that we're definitely not coming back to or ever seeing again.
I didn't even catch the town's name.
I don't even know if they gave it one. It's just rando mining town.
I think the bartender mentioned it at one point.
Oh yeah, probably.
She was everyone in, and I didn't catch the name.
Yeah.
When she was going on about we live our lives in the dirt here and we dig in the dirt and covered by the dirt, which is
she was great.
She was a very interesting character.
Yeah, and I didn't see it coming. I just thought that I just totally bought her story of I'm a small mining town girl who's always wanted to get out, and I'm I admire what you guys are doing, and it's now more believable because I was kind of wow, she's kind of cutting them a break. She doesn't really have a reason to. And now I'm I see why.
Yep. And that's kind of on brand for Wheel of Time because there are a lot of things that in the moment you can be what? But kind of after the fact, you'll gain more information that makes you look back and go, oh, that's why this happened. And sometimes it's, a character motivation you don't know, or it's an aspect of the world.
Totally.
So I thought that was just perfect what they did with her.
Yeah, and I feel they sort of distilled what is a long section in the first book, Eye of the World, where Rand and Matt are on this long wandering journey to try to get to the White Tower.
Yep.
And they have a bunch of rando encounters and things.
I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, it's just a blur of basically what this episode was, where they chop wood and play some songs to try to earn their supper, and dark friends try to kill them. That is the thing.
There is a lot of dark friends trying to kill them.
So I hope that they distilled that into this one scene and we're all done, because I don't need to. I don't think they're going to repeat it in the way that Jordan sort of draws it out.
Well, then again, we've gotten some of the repetition with Perrin and Wolves
already. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we might get a few more attempted dark friend assassinations.
Yeah, but if we can jump into next episode predictions, I do feel the change is going to be that my prediction for them is that Rand and Matt get a mentor. Tom is going to change their dynamic entirely, because he's a big character in the books, and so we won't spoil anything, but obviously he's a cool dude. He knew about the Aiel, which is came from very far away from where they are, and I'm kind of interested why he was there at all. And he knew the words to say to bury them, which is this dude is culturally aware. Mm-hmm. So he's a very worldly guy in a way that they aren't, and I think he's just going to be this Gandalf-like figure, guiding them into the wider world and also guiding us into it. And I'm excited for that, because I think that's going to be I don't think that like that's gonna last, but I think they need Gandalf for a while.
Yeah, they need some direction.
Yeah, just like Perrin and Egwene are kind of getting the Tuatha on as their Gandalf in some ways.
Yeah,
or at least their place of respite.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little more place of respite, just from what I remember from books. The early part of the series is a little foggier for me. But
yeah, I think they have some Tuatha on time. I think Egwene kind of takes a shine to one of the guys, so maybe she's going to take a shine to Aram.
I mean, I've been saying she could do better than Rand.
But Rand in this episode was not particularly punchable.
Right.
Except for, like, pulling back from Dark Friend's kiss.
Yeah. Before we get into that, my next episode prediction is we're going to start to see some Aes Sedai politics.
Yeah, totally.
Because we had a bunch of sisters of different colors there. Different Ajas. And that hasn't really been a thing in the show yet, but it's such a huge part of the books. Like, a lot of fantasy, you'll have, like, kind of politicking with, like, noble houses and, like, how they're influencing the king. Here it's basically just the ladies who do magic are the ones doing the major politicking.
And they are in every throne room, like, controlling all the politicking. Totally, because Moraine's goal is, like, diametrically opposed to them. They want to find any dragon and control him. And Moraine's like, no, I need to find them and keep them safe so they can do what they need to.
Yep.
And so whatever the colors of the band that she's tracked down, although obviously the red is in control. And the red, I don't think this is a spoiler, this is just background of time. The red are the ones who are, like, all about controlling men because they go insane when they channel. And so they try to track down any channeling men and keep them from being a threat. And they're generally just not big fans of men. They're the only one who don't take warders. So that's why they didn't have warders with them. The other colors should, but...
Particularly the green, which we did see at least one green Aes Sedai there.
Yeah, totally.
And they're the ones that are all about just take as many warders as you want.
They're the polyamorous Aes Sedai.
Such as it is.
There are, gentle hints of that in the books. But, yeah, I think I think that her interactions with them and maybe hiding that Nynaeve could be the dragon... I think is going to be the main driving force of the next one, because honestly, like, Matt and Rand going on an adventure with Tom is kind of like middle and a little bit slower, and Perrin and Egwene having the safe place, those are not particularly compelling. That's kind of middle, where after intense first couple episodes, now they're taking a rest and finding their feet before they really become proactive.
Yeah, they'll kind of become like our B and C plots, and I think the Aes Sedai are going to be the main. Yeah. I agree with you on that.
Totally, which is awesome because I'm so ready to see them. I think Moraine is an awesome character. I love Lan. Nynaeve is a fucking badass.
Yes.
I am so glad. Okay, so we're wandering around in our moments, but okay. All right, anyways, we were talking about how Rand was punchable, and I said that Rand is actually not very punchable in this one.
Right.
I mean, I was kind of like... I kind of respect him even in the moment for not going for it with this lady, because I think he's still... sorting out his feelings with Egwene. He's not just going to, jump into bed with random barmaid, and then she turns out to be a dark friend. So it's like, good work, Rand. And in the meantime, he decided to work for his damn supper while Matt was like, I'm too moody to do this.
Yeah. Which, like you said in the actual watch-along, there's a little bit more of a reason for that.
There will be capital R reasons.
Capital R reasons. But yeah, Rand is, there was Rand being, inconsistent about, no, we have to get to the White Tower, when before he's been like, I don't want to go to the White Tower.
That was weird, yeah.
Yeah, but aside from that, Rand is pretty good.
He was actually likable, and...
Yes.
Yeah, totally. So
he gets his moments, and here we finally get to see some Rand moments.
Yay! You just had to get him away from Egwene so he'd stop being such an asshole.
Yes.
Really, Matt had a, slightly punchable moment here and there. Mostly just his emo moment where he didn't want to chop wood.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was... Okay, so... I'm just reading my notes and saying now we're doing this section, but I have considered this section Robert Jordan rolls in his grave for things that are very different.
I didn't spot too much, but I know you had something you mentioned.
Yeah, so I have one thing that kind of happens in two places, and that is that really okay, so people can use the one power as wildlings, where they kind of just figure it out.
Right.
And Egwene really does that, and I think that was like far too easy on her part.
Oh.
Because she'd made a gem glow a couple of times with Maureen. That is all. She'd made it glow once with Maureen. That's all she's done. And then she's like, oh, we need fire. I channeled some fire. Like, she didn't have to try. It wasn't hard. It did exactly what she wanted to.
But, I mean, they did leave that ambiguous because Perrin was like,
yeah, that's true.
Was that me or you?
He just, like, his whole
And
flint striking, I'm chopping myself in the hand seemed very ineffectual.
We didn't see, you know, like the weave happening.
It's true. Yeah, so it's true. Okay, so...
It's not totally determined, but if it was, like, 100% her, then I agree with you. That was definitely too easy.
Yeah, in the same way, I feel like we saw Rand quasi-channel. He should not have been able to break that door down.
Yep.
And we see him get like real Dragon Ball Z about it, and then he breaks it down. It's like she knew the place was like soundproof and door was impregnable, and it looked really hard. So it's like, no, that's impossible.
Although, you know, channeling is not the only possible explanation there.
I don't know what you're talking about, but now I feel dumb that I don't.
It's something the show has not touched on.
Okay. Which could also be an explanation for why he would have gotten the girl if she hadn't been a dark friend.
Yes, it's the go-to explanation for many things that happen.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, but I guess. Okay, let's not talk about it for now.
Right. I think there is a different reason. Levi has a different interpretation. Both could be valid.
I can buy his reason.
Neither could be valid.
I'm excited to talk about it when it comes up because as an author, I have feelings about what he did.
The reason I'm referring to is it's an interesting reason, shall we say? It's one of the bigger issues I have with the books.
Yeah, and it's such a central part of it, and it's a central part of the whole metaphor of how the wheel weaves as the wheel wills, etc.
Yeah.
But it's kind of problematic. But not in a like, hey, there's no gay people or whatever. I've been reading some articles, and apparently there are some like hinted at same gender relationships in the Wheel of Time. I cannot think of any.
Oh, I can think of a few.
Are there?
Yeah, like particularly among the Aes Sedai. Like some of those ladies shack up.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
It's very subtext.
It's super subtext.
But like it's
but
there.
It is there.
I mean,
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. That's awesome because I want that to be a thing. I loved how forward it was in this one.
Yes.
How they're just joking about it. And I just love fantasy's power to show like an alternate world where they don't have all the hangups that we do.
Yep.
You know, because it's like, it's just awesome to see her not have any stigma if he's with Matt, him not have any, he's not offended by it. He's like, no, it's not my thing. Like, I could get a better dude if I wanted one. It was so cool.
They get to basically make a no homo joke without being like homophobic about it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And I wholeheartedly approve of that.
He's just like, I happen to not be homo, but like, you know, if I was, I would be laying down better meat than Matt.
And like, probably.
I am fairly punchable, but I think I would do it. So I think that was my favorite moment.
Okay, I think my favorite moment was probably the bartender lady's kind of motive rant about how like
that was great.
The dragon can save us. He can break the wheel because it's very the Wheel of Time. It tends to be very kind of on the side of moral, being morally absolutist. You know, there's the light and then there's dark friends and kind of, you know, you get some ambiguity as time more goes along, but at a basic level, it's very like, these people are in the right, these people are not.
Yeah, and the people who are not, they're all stupid, basically.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of them are very
problem
stupid.
That I have with it.
Even the people that are supposed to be like very clever and manipulative and scheming, they're very like, not quite Saturday morning cartoon villain.
Yeah, they still ultimately all believe in this dumbass thing. They're like, I've seen so many people get killed trying to do like at the whim of these higher powered people, but me, I'm gonna be the Dark One's best friend. They're all just trying to climb like the social ladder, and they don't see that there's a very bloody glass ceiling. Because, like, it's just not. It doesn't make sense that they'll believe in it. There is one Dark Friend in the series. So fucking cool. Revealed in book 14. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Oh
yes,
my god.
I'm dying to know. The best Dark Friend.
Yes. I'm dying to know if Sanderson came up with that or if Jordan had it planned. It was amazing. I
Yeah.
loved that reveal. God, it was
Anyway,
but most
yeah.
of the Dark Friends are dumb, and I
Yeah.
feel like in the books. But this was so good to me. This was like, like Thanos could have just been a dumb villain who wanted to kill half the people because he's mean, and he's like, no, ecological reasons, my friends, and it's like, okay, like I can kind of sympathize with that. And Dark Friend here is almost like talking about breaking cycle of birth and death in like a Hindu or Buddhist sense.
Yes.
I'm like, that's awesome. That's actually a motive I can get behind. And it's entirely lacking from all 14 of the books that I've read so far in the Wheel of Time series.
Yeah.
Like, thank you very much for fixing a giant hole in problem.
Yes.
And Jordan, could you not have, like, I get that you don't want us to like bad people, but...
Sanderson brings, because you haven't finished reading all the books.
Yeah.
Sanderson brings a little more of that in at the very end.
I think I've gotten a little taste of it, yeah. But the first, like,
Yeah, a lot of it, it's just like,
13,000
I am an evil
pages.
person, therefore I do evil.
I want to, like, be evil, but I will succeed where everybody else... Oh, no, they killed me because they were mad!
Yeah, it's very almost
over and
like Sith in Star Wars levels of
Yeah.
just kind of being evil because. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
they're
always
just
love
hardcore
when you
evil.
can at least understand the villain a little bit. You don't have
sure.
to agree with them, but you can like see where they're coming from a little bit. Like her just having, a completely shit life and being like,
Yeah,
you know what?
totally.
I haven't been outside to like the rest of the world, but there's probably these crappy little mining villages everywhere. Let's destroy everything.
Yeah, and she
and
has
make it
this
better.
dark view of life. She's like, you're born in dirt, you work in it, and when you're
Yes.
done, they throw a couple shovelfuls, and then, very cool, tying it up, we see that happen to the Aiel man who's dead.
Yes.
And-
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that's really clever. I didn't think about it until just now either. That's super clever on their part. And yeah, I think it made it so believable that she would become a Dark Friend. So I really dearly hope that they keep doing that because it's a huge hole in the books
Yes.
for me.
And hopefully they can do it with more. I don't think this lady per se appeared in the books. She might have been one of the long string of assassins that I just don't remember.
Okay.
But I think she was just made out of whole cloth for the series. But
Yeah.
if they can bring a little more of that into villains who are supposed to be a little more
Yeah,
central and
totally.
interesting and aren't always, then that'll be fantastic.
Yeah, totally. Yes, there are higher level villains who are equally cardboard in just very disappointing ways in the books.
Yeah.
And
I had actually thought that she was going to be one of those higher level villains.
Oh,
like when she started
okay.
talking about like
Wow.
like Egwene, and I was like, I thought of a specific character immediately who
Okay.
hasn't been mentioned.
I think I know who you're thinking about.
Yeah.
She like coming a couple books from now, like maybe book 4 or so.
Yep.
Yeah,
I believe
yeah,
we're thinking
totally.
of the same person.
Yep. Yeah, I really loved that she named Ishamael. 'Cause
Yes.
I don't even remember like that being totally explicit in the books that he was a dragon that went over to the dark side, but it's really cool that they have their own prophet figure because Ishamael is a thing.
Yep.
And that like, yeah, I just think they can go a lot deeper with this breaking the cycle thing.
Yeah.
It's sort of like now good and evil, instead of just being dumb and smart, is like fundamentally cynical or fundamentally hopeful. The cynics are
Yeah.
like, let's just stop doing this bullshit existence thing. And the hopeful ones are like, no, it's worth it. Like, it sucks,
we
but
can save it.
sometimes we
can
get to
improve
love
it.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so much more down to see that philosophical debate play out in all the stuff.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about Tom Maryland a little
Okay.
bit.
Yep.
Because he is one of my favorite characters in the books.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's great. I wasn't 100% on board with like the actor playing him at first,
Yeah,
but
totally.
as
He
the
seemed
episode,
a little young,
yeah,
a little bit beefy.
young, a little bit beefy.
He's
definitely.
almost like,
exactly how I was feeling.
Yeah, like The Witcher looking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does kind of look like Geralt.
Yeah, of Rivia. Yeah, I imagine Tom being a little bit more like slender and jester-like
Yeah,
and
because
older.
yeah,
I mean, he's gray-haired, but
yeah, gray-haired, but like I always pictured him being a little more like the kind of so old where you wouldn't picture him being able to put a knife through someone's throat.
yeah.
and he still
very
absolutely
agile.
can.
Yeah, totally.
The agility.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of more on board as we've gotten to the end.
Yeah, I mean, I really like how they've
I'm not-
written him. I think he's
Yeah.
just a really unique take on Tom. They're not just like, we're doing Tom straight. They're like, we're
Yeah.
doing a little bit of a grimmer and more, well, not more worldly, but just like he just has his own vibe, which is cool.
Yep.
And this is a deep cut if you're not familiar with Magic the Gathering, or even if you are, but he looks like Soren from the Innistrad series.
Oh!
He is like a picture perfect Soren. So if you know what I'm talking about, you can be like, oh yes, and if you don't, well, you can Google
a little
card,
bonus wheels turning.
Yes. Totally. Do you have the episode in 3 words? Because I got...
I do. Mine is, and I mean, I know we were kind of doomed to this from canon, but don't split party. Kind of classic fantasy adventuring advice, but the party's been split, and now everyone's kind of in a worse spot because of it.
Yeah,
you know, we
totally.
have some ways, some people, some mentors who can help get us back on track, but like, Lan, just keep everybody together. Come on.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, you know, they tried kind of, but Rand and Matt climbed the Stony Mountain, and Perrin and Egwene went to the very different looking mountains.
Yeah, I guess like
it was really cold down where they were. And pretty
I almost
warm where
wanted
Rand
like
was.
if there was this had a more comedic bent, I almost would have wanted them to like pull the camera back. We see them on like opposite sides of the same mountain or something like that.
As you started to say that, I was like, he's going to say, "Don't split wood." This is Matt's 3 words.
Oh, I mean, I stand Matt Cawthon, but like in that moment, no. Come on, man. Don't be a dick.
I know he's being so emo, and anyway, as mentioned, there are capital R reasons, but...
Yes. What are your 3 words, then?
Yep, that's Nynaeve. Because they did a great job. Killing that Trolloc, giving smack to Lan, not caring that she's a prisoner, and like having a true healing heart, but not letting anybody tell her what to do.
Yep,
that
very
is so
like
Nynaeve.
It's not a demand, it's a threat.
Yeah, like,
when she's like tied up,
like you're
unable
not
to move.
She's like, it's a threat, motherfucker. Like,
yeah, that is her to a T.
I killed a Trolloc, all right. Not scared of you, Lan Mandragoran. And yeah, as mentioned, because they have a long relationship in the books, it's super cool to see the show started out this way. I hope they get time to develop that and like look back on this and like see how it started, because that was awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Damn good 3 words. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Man, okay. So a little bit more on the background of time. I was thinking about yeah, the song that Tom Maryland sang, "The Man Who Can't Forget." Would you agree that's Luz Theron?
I would.
Okay,
I would.
Yeah, which is awesome. So this idea of the wheel of time turning is that like the cycle of life tends to repeat, and the Dark One will rise up, and a dragon will rise up to fight him, and it's this constant repeating struggle that like mankind has to keep evil from taking over the world. And so like they never defeat the Dark One completely, but they have legends of the dragons before who did it well. Luz Theron is one of them. This is not spoilers because it's the prologue to the first book of the series. It starts off with him like looking for his lover and realizing that he's gone completely fucking batshit crazy from using the one power because it's tainted, and killed everyone that he loves, and then like killing himself by making a giant mountain in the middle of the continent.
Yeah, you know, just being a little extra like that.
Yeah,
the
that
classic,
is the classic epic fantasy prologue. Like the reason that epic fantasy writers now shy away from prologues because everybody has so many feelings about them that it's better to just not do it.
Right. Is it in that prologue when we get that immortal line, "I win again, Luz Theron"? Or is that later?
Yeah.
Because that's something the Dark One like says like as like dragons fail over and over. And
yeah, totally.
It's great. Or but maybe not fail, just not win completely. You know?
Yeah. But I love the like the concept of that song saying "the man who can't forget," because like whoever the dragon turns out to be, they're going to start hearing echoes of the dragons before, and like maybe even being haunted by them. Whether it's a Shamael, which is awesome, or Luz Theron, or the other ones that have happened, like it's just. There was such a cool, subtle, like a nod to the people who know the mythology, and to the people who don't, perhaps it will like that seed will bear fruit in time. And if not, it's just like such cool set dressing.
Yeah.
Even if he was basically singing like his voice is somewhere between Kurt Cobain and Eddie Vedder.
I was thinking Kurt Cobain.
I was like, what? He had a real like Cobain yowl on there. I was okay, you're modernizing this, but I feel like that's not going to age well. Like, it was really interesting to, like, at this point, like, take a almost 30-year-old, like, popular musician and then put them in the fantasy world. I mean, you know, there's some other like popular series that I feel like have done this. Like there's so much popular music in that HBO series. Oh my God, what's it called? Where the robots are in an Old West setting, Westworld.
Westworld, yeah.
They have a ton of that, and I feel like was some of that in The Witcher, unless I missed my mark.
Or maybe it's been a while since I've seen The Witcher.
Music.
Yeah, but I don't remember that.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
maybe I'm missing my mark. Anyways, it was cool. I liked it. I was just surprised that he had that Cobain yowl on there.
Yeah, that was one of the moments that made me kind of question, like, this is their Tom? This is their Tom Maryland? This is our Tom Maryland?
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of gripes before we wrap it up.
Sure.
Gripe number 1, the Trollocs just fucking disappeared. Like,
yep.
They were so bloodthirsty.
Vanish.
They would have surrounded Shadar Logoth, and if any of them had survived, they would have eaten them for breakfast. And they all just jump in the moat and then wander away on their adventures. Come on.
Yeah.
That is way too convenient.
I remember the pursuit like going on far longer in the books.
Oh, there was a big old fight scene after they got out of Shadar Logoth where she had to use the Angreal and like she stretched herself too far and Land throws down with a fade. You know, like, that's a whole thing. And in this one, they're just like, no, party splitting time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that doesn't just become a plot hole, but it might just become a plot hole.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Trollocs had, like, reasons, or maybe they'll reappear for some of the characters, but it just felt a little bit too, like, in retrospect, Deus Ex, that the Trollocs came and they left as soon as we needed them to.
Well, for reasons that the show hasn't gotten to yet, well, it's also it's simultaneously really hard and way too easy to accuse Wheel of Time of Deus Ex.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
unfortunately,
that's true. Yeah, some of the storytelling conventions don't totally apply to this series because Jordan fuckery. But
Jordan fuckery. Yeah.
Did you have any gripes?
My main gripe is I think it's cool that they're keeping up the like Perrin and like something with wolves. Yeah. But I think they're laying it on a little thick. Like, it's just a weird thing that's happening. And it seems... I'm kind of trying to think about this from the perspective of someone who has no idea, no exposure to the books. And it just seems like, why are wolves, like, helping and not, like, trying to kill them?
Yeah, because what have we seen so far? They, like, came and Rando licked his wound.
Yep.
And then, which we didn't see at all. Maybe his wound is getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then there were no beats of it.
They chased them for a while and then stopped and just and Perrin was like, they led us here to like the tracks of the traveling people.
Yeah, and they also ate his axe-chopped wife's guts in a dream. And then
dream was fantastic.
She was undead. It was, but like, okay. So it's a thing in the series that there are a bunch of dreams that don't mean anything. And I totally start skimming whenever that happens. Because I'm like, okay, it means nothing. It's just like when they go to a town and they like, he lists out the rumors that they hear in the inn. I'm like, okay, skim this because it literally doesn't matter. And I had to like, I realized that I was writing like that sometimes. It'd be like, okay, here's the rumors part where I can just say a bunch of shit that's almost the plot but not the plot. And then I'd write it and be like, but that's not interesting or good. So I need to delete that now.
Yeah, the thing is, Robert Jordan, he never deleted.
No. There was no deletion of words.
He should have deleted more.
Yes.
But
agree 130%. But
yeah, the wolves topic. For me, like it's a little it feels a little weird and I feel like they need to do a little bit more with that if that's going to keep happening.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think
they
will.
For reasons, things will happen. Just I'm worried they're going to delay it so much that it's just going to be like reveal of what the wolf thing is all about, and then like it's not going to happen anymore because all the wolf stuff has already happened.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the one thing I can say is that this feels true to the source material because Perrin fucking ruminates on shit without doing anything for a long time.
Yeah.
And this essentially is ruminating in plot form. We're going to lay it on thick, but nothing's actually going to happen or change vis-a-vis Perrin and the wolves. We're just going to like hint at it a little too hard for a little too long, and that's how Perrin's story always goes. So, good work.
You're 100% right, and I hate you for that.
We're right in tune with the books. Okay, my other gripe is that ending of episode 1, bam, we get the Wheel of Time turns.
Yes.
Narrative voiceover. It was fucking so many feels for people who know the source material.
Mm-hmm.
Episode
I've
2.
been waiting for it.
Nynaeve's got a knife to Lan's throat. Hell yeah. Episode 3. Oh, here's a rando dude. Goodbye.
He says he's the dragon.
Yeah, like, there was no tension at all.
Yeah,
we did not care.
Levi and I, we know 100% who
Yeah.
that dude in the cage is. And even
he is important.
Even so,
And,
with
yeah.
that knowledge, the end of the episode is still like, okay?
And without it, it's like, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of nothing.
Like, they should have ended before that happened.
Well, although I guess it kind of ties into, like, they haven't, we don't know for sure who the dragon is. So, it's possible that Guy in Cage could actually be the dragon.
But
Moiraine's
been saying it's one of those 5. Yeah, she could have. But then Dark Friend also said it's one of those 5, which I feel like was good.
Damn, that's true.
She sort of took it from being just Moiraine's fantasy to being sort of objective. Because Rand and Matt can be like, the Dark One thinks it's one of us 5 too. This is probably a thing.
Right.
We shouldn't go home anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't considered it from that angle. So, okay. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah,
I tried to defend the end of the episode.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, it just is a tensionless episode ending, which sucks because they did it good twice. And I love me a good ending to a chapter or an episode. So
it doesn't always have to be, some dramatic cliffhanger, but it should be something. This one, it just kind of left us with nothing.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
But overall, there were some great moments in this one. I was into it. Yeah.
I was honestly, the time passed so quickly that when the ending came and the little next episode thing popped up on our screen, I was like,
I know, me too. I was like,
I had this little moment of, oh God, we're already done.
We're here. Okay. Yeah. So real quick, any other wheels turning for you?
Yes.
In the interim?
I have a couple other wheels. I stream on Twitch sometimes. And I have another podcast going there that's about Pokemon, so I've been playing Pokemon.
Nice.
It has absolutely no connection to the Wheel of Time, but it's a thing I'm doing. I'm finding that it's...
I was just going to say the Eyeless are sort of like a very advanced Pokemon character.
Maybe. But
they're just collecting all the Trollocs. Gotta collect them all.
God.
I'm trying hard to play Pokemon.
But yeah, it was a thing I did in my childhood and basically didn't touch for 20 years. Now I'm going back to it and I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of didn't miss this. But there are some okay moments. I also, more relevant to Wheel of Time, I watched a little bit of the Netflix Cowboy Bebop show, which is
nice.
I've
heard good things.
Yeah, this is the adaptation of a very beloved book series.
Yeah.
That's a live-action adaptation of a very beloved anime.
Yeah.
Which a lot of diehard anime fans really do not like.
Oh, interesting. I watched the first few episodes of the anime. I was into it.
Yeah, the live action, I am a little more positive on it for now, but I haven't seen that much of it. I have gripes with it, but it kind of made me think about this and how interesting it is to see, what decisions are made when adapting a work from another medium. And there it's a little more, totally. You can go a little more one-to-one, and they do, because they're both visual. But I mean, here, it's text on page to images on screen, actors saying lines, a little bit different, but still kind of interesting to think about. What wheels are turning for you in between the fatherly responsibilities?
Yes, well, as discussed, between trying to build my own fictional wheels and to raise my children to exist in our Wheel of Time, I don't have a lot of time to spin wheels, but I did finish that. I think I mentioned the short book. It's somewhere between a novella and a novel called Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, he totally stuck the landing. It was awesome.
Nice.
I liked it. The book was just it's such a good play on cultural differences based on technology, and things resolve super well. He's just an amazing author. So I totally recommend that if you like settings that are so post-apocalyptic that become fantasy again, which is where we're at in Wheel of Time. You saw those skyscrapers in episode 1.
Yep.
And we know there have been so many eras in this, and in the books there was a very technological era before.
Extremely. I mean, they go a little more and I'm sure we'll get into it more in the show. It's a little more almost magitech versus technology, but it was very advanced regardless.
But to quote Asimov, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And in Wheel of Time, we only get the perspective of the lowly fantasy era people looking back on it and thinking it was magical. the cool thing about Elder Race is that there's 2 point of views, and one of those is is the person who's in it and sees this second-rate anthropologist with a lot of technology as a sorcerer. And he's like, I'm not a sorcerer. I just have some machines. We just know about the laws of nature and we use them. And so we get his perspective on how like boring and shitty his technology is, whereas she's like, you're a sorcerer. And that that point of view contrast is super cool. Like he tries to say things like scientist, but he's using like his AI to speak in her language, and it just keeps coming out as wizard sorcerer.
Nice.
So that's super fun. And then I have been watching all the episodes that are out so far of the Hawkeye miniseries on Disney Plus in Marvel, and with the one that came out about the Scarlet Witch, whatever that one was called, and the one that was Winter Soldier and Falcon, you can tell that I don't totally care about these, but I always have this experience of like, wow, I don't care about this side character, and I watch them like, oh, I'm super into this. This is great. Marvel is so good at like writing and making all the things. And Hawkeye, I'm like, yeah, I guess I could watch the next episode. It's just like so low stakes, and the characters are so low powered that I kind of don't give a shit. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier were still sort of trying to stop world apocalypse. And the Scarlet Witch, I don't know why I can't remember the name of this, because everybody loved that, was like really cool. It was like dealing with grief and longing, and they were main characters from the Avengers. And this is like the worst character in the Avengers, hands down, teaches somebody who's worse than him to like kind of not suck. So I don't know, I'm not super into it, but I think there's still a few episodes left, so maybe it'll get better.
Maybe they'll bring it back. I find that usually, although sometimes it's just a question of what stories you're consuming. I find if I've got a lot of this very epic stuff, the fate of existence, the fate of the world, whatever is at stake, and then I consume something that's more like narrowed down, like this particular city is having a problem, and I'm like, oh, okay, we can get really detailed. I'm into this, but sometimes you don't have a compelling enough small problem in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's actually really good writing when you can make low stakes still be really engaging, because it's sort of lazy, and this happens in epic fantasy so much. It's like the fate of the world is in his hands. Like, okay, so I guess of course we care because we don't want the world to end, but Dark Friends do. But like, to get us to care just about like if we just stayed in the Two Rivers and they had to defend themselves against Trollocs, to get us to just care about that village and like the crazy drunk lady who pitchforked the Trollocs,
yes,
like that takes like more careful and good nuanced writing. So
because you can't really up the stakes like more and more, and eventually you get this problem with epic fantasy too, where you can't, you might be able to have like, ooh, it's actually two worlds that are at stake, but at a certain point you're like, cool. Like I actually have that issue with some of Marvel. Like the stakes are so high that I can't
Thanos
really
is gonna, like kill half of
really envision them.
The multiverse.
Yeah, and it's kind of like cut on your thumb is a tragedy, 1,000 deaths is a statistic kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Where it's not super like relatable.
Yeah, totally. Yep. I agree. So I'm hoping that they can like bring Hawkeye back around and make me care about these low stakes. I do care about the characters, but like I don't have as much faith they're going to stick the landing on this one. So anyway, that's how that wheel is turning for me. But
we have gone quite long this time.
Yeah, this is a super like double long after show for some reason. But that was a good episode. Thanks for listening to us to the bitter end of our after show.
Yes, you're great. Thank you for sticking around.
Yep. If you are listening to this podcast, we do have a watch along as well, where we watch and we make some of the comments that we reference here, just like along with the thing. And we have that just on YouTube. So look for Watch Along of Time on YouTube, and you can actually watch the episode with us as well as listen to us meander in our thoughts about said episode.
Yes, or just, make dumb crack jokes or predictions about what's going to come out of their mouths next. Yes. And occasionally get it right.
Yeah, and probably most of the time wrong, but hopefully in entertaining ways.
Hopefully.
So, until the next episode, friends.
The watch along of time keeps turning.
This was neither a beginning or a... God, I always fuck it up.
Eventually we'll get it right.
We will.
That'll be the end of season growth.
All right, till next time, y'all.
Good night.